It's a great pleasure now to introduce our guest. Venerable Dhammananda is a very special bhikkhuni and teacher based in Thailand. She defied convention to become the first woman fully ordained in the Thai Theravada Buddhist tradition. She was also one of the founders of Sakyadhita. Cindy Rasicot is her student and the author of a book about her life and teachings called This Fresh Existence, Heart Teachings from Bhikkhuni Dhammananda. Welcome to you both. I just wanted to begin, Venerable Dhammananda, with the floods we've all been hearing about in Thailand. I just want to make sure that you and your monastery, everyone there, is safe. Venerable Dhammananda.
Yes, we are safe. We are safe because what happened is in the south, but
Okay.
the most severe flood that we ever had in our history. Yes,
Yeah.
so even though we are not there, we are affected.
Good.
We have to send help and all kind of just even the sad news that people there are suffering itself. We need to cultivate loving kindness and send it in that direction. Yes.
Yes, we will do that. Venerable Dana, the obvious questions. What brought you to that decision to ordain? Because at the time you had a family, you had three sons, sorry. You had a very successful career in both academia and the media, and you were already in your 50s. So why that decision to ordain?
This ordination started with my mother. My mother was the very first Thai woman to be ordained. But at that time, during her time in the 70s, there were no ordination in Theravada tradition.
Mm.
So in 1983, as an academic, I was invited to Harvard. And the conference which I attended was on women, religion, and social changes. And I was exposed to many of the feminists who dedicated their life for their own country and their great job. I listened to the pain of women going through in their lives and to realize that as the only academic in my country, having all the knowledge about ordination for women, yet I was not doing anything to bring about social changes. I think that was the first step to bring about the awareness of myself to be committed. But still, I was waiting for the right ordination to happen and the authentic, acceptable Theravada ordination did not happen until much later. So when that happened in India and then it went to Sri Lanka, I followed the lineage and I decided to be ordained in the year 2000. But my actual ordination did not happen until 2001. So I was ordained in Sri Lanka. Yes.
And Venerable Dhammananda, how difficult was it to leave behind your family? And you had not just a successful life in the academia, but also you're on television. You were quite a star. So you left a lot behind. How difficult was that?
It was not that difficult at all. It was just a committed, once when you realize that your life is going to be committed in this ordination, it was not difficult. Now to think back, it was not a big deal for me. But I had a little trouble with my ex-husband. And then my sons were all grown up, My sons
Mm.
intervened. And the only question they asked me was, is this ordination your own decision? They were afraid that I would be kind of influenced or forced by my mother to be ordained. So I said, no, it's my own decision. And do allow me because, I have raised you. And the youngest one was already 24. So do allow me to lead my life as I would like to dedicate my life to. Yeah, so that it happened much easier than you can imagine.
Venerable Dhammananda, your mother was such a strong influence on you.
Yeah.
Tell us a little more about her and both the negative and the positive and how that influenced your decision and why that mother-daughter relationship is often so important. to get that right before we can move on.
Yes, it's like a kind of model that you see in your life. I'm sorry to say, she's very dictatorial.
That comes over in the book.
We never question, when she tells us to do something. We never question why we have to do that. We just have to follow. So in her younger days, when she was I think she was 25, she decided to travel by bicycle from Bangkok to Singapore, just to prove to her students, her male students, that do not say that women cannot do things. So she showed them in her life, that yes, once when you have decided, you can do it. So she is that kind of character, and whatever she told us to do in the family. Suppose if she comes home and she asks us whether you have done that, and if you said no, she would ask why, and you cannot say because you have not done it. And she said, if you have not done it, how come you already know that you cannot do it? Do it first and come back to me. So we were trained in that kind of setting to learn to do things.
And how old were you when she ordained, that ordination in the Mahayana tradition?
He was first ordained in Thailand when I was only 10 years old, 10 to 11.
Yeah.
So we kind of followed her, kind of dumbfounded, Then she went into the barber shop and shaved her head, and then we just followed her very quietly. And that was her first ordination before she was fully ordained in 1973, I think, then when she went to Taiwan, because there was no ordination in Thailand yet, and there was no Theravada tradition ordination yet.
And she lived as a nun, or she lived in a monastery, or she lived on her own?
Yes, she started a monastery. I mean, Cindy can tell you it's a comparatively big monastery. Comparatively, I said comparatively, as compared to temples in Sri Lanka. Our temple is big. Yes, she started the temple. She knew that she would start a temple even before she was ordained, because she started buying the land. Already she was considering starting a temple, and the law says that you have to have 6 acres, 6 Thai acres, to actually build a temple. So she was looking for this larger piece of land. Cannot be in Bangkok, because in Bangkok it was too expensive. So she started to move out a little, edging out to find a right place with the right amount of money that she was able to manage. So that's why we get settled in the Kon Pathom, which is about 52 kilometers west of Bangkok.
Right. And you lived with her there?
I lived in Bangkok.
Okay. But
I would come to visit her on the weekends.
Okay. Yeah. And so moving on, you mentioned you were ordained in Sri Lanka, and I don't know if you've noticed, but we have Ranjani with us. And
Ranjani was the one who knew everything, because she was the one who organized it. She was my only Dayika, the one who really supports me.
Well, she is with us today online.
Oh, wonderful.
Where is she? Ranjani, do you want to say something? Is Ranjani still with us?
She's still with us. She just needs to unmute.
Unmute, yeah. Can you hear me?
There we go. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, welcome our Bhikkhuni Dhammananda to the screen. I'm so happy to hear your voice.
Yes.
You are so close to my heart. I always think of you, Venerable. You have been always really supportive for me, encouraging me to do whatever I did. I'm happy I saw your mother. You remember you have the photo with all of us. You're with your mother, Bhikkhuni. Yeah, you influenced me too. And thanks to Ayas, Kema inspired me to do whatever I have done. And you were there to support me. So we all got together and did. And now Bhikkhunis boom like lotuses, I said in my first speech. I said, that is happening now. So sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.
Thank you, Ranjani. And so, Venerable Dhammananda, what are your recollections of that ordination, and how did you feel, as your head was shaved?
There was
Wow.
no run. That would not be my ordination, because he was the one who was behind everything, organizing everything for me, But
And
I would, at this point, I would like to say that uh, for a person to be ordained, you really need support from lay people. And in
Yeah.
my case, I was so lucky to have Ranjani behind me. So everything, even my bowl, the bowl that I used, he made offering of the bowl to me on my ordination day.
so blessed.
Yeah.
I'm so blessed. I'm so blessed to be there under the Naga tree. The Naga tree. She shaved her hair. I think she has the photo of that. Yes.
Yes, I've seen that photo.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ranjani.
Thank you. Something to.
Yeah. Sadhu. Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
for sharing. Sadhu, sadhu.
Yeah. And after the ordination, Venerable Dhammananda, you set up your own monastery?
The monastery was there already. I was lucky because my mother started it for me. So
Yeah.
I have to continue, and I have to, yes, I just have to continue and start building more buildings according to our need. So it has been enlarged. The land was the same. I added more, 3 acres more. So it become 9 acres now. And now with the 1, 2, 3, maybe 3 more buildings.
But it wasn't just you had to do the building. According to Cindy's book, you faced vitriolic opposition from the Thai press. They were really against this idea of a bhikkhuni. So what was that like to deal with that, Venerable Dhammananda?
It was difficult, to look back. Like, I myself was a young samaneri, a young novice, I knew that the society will not be, the society will be negative. Some of them will be negative, but I didn't realize that it will be at that large, how to say, so many people. And sometimes they play dirty trick, like someone would call in a radio station, and the person who ran the radio station recorded the negative one and keep repeating on the negative ones. So you learn to experience, but this is all, the negative side is simply because they don't know the real teaching. I did not start all this by myself. It is the Buddha who actually saw the path for women, and it's the Buddha's cetana, the Buddha's intention to have women ordained. So if we go back to the text, my strength comes from the text, and from being academic, I have that strength.
Yeah. And you had studied all the text as an academic.
Yes.
So you were seen, even before you became a bhikkhuni, you were seen as an expert on the bhikkhuni tradition.
Yes. My thesis was on bhikkhuni.
Yeah. So you really had that ingrained understanding.
Which I have to say that is very important. It's very important ingredient in me to be able to withstand all the negative comments, after my ordination.
Yeah.
Because most of them would listen to the monks, and the monks would have to go back to the text. If we are reading the same, I can always point out.
But at the time, as Cindy has written, there were 300,000 monks in Thailand and 1 bhikkhuni. So how did that feel, the 1 bhikkhuni?
Very humble, very humble.
Yeah.
But I was strongly rooted in the Buddha's allowance, and I knew what I was doing was correct.
And so how did things grow from there? How did your monastery grow? And the seminaries today, how did the bhikkhuni tradition grow from there?
The first year was difficult. First 3 months was difficult. But after that, the criticism subsided, and people started coming just to see, to witness themselves that yes, there are really there are Bhikkhunis, living in Thailand now. So they would come just to see the life or the life Buddha Bhikkhuni. That was a joke in the beginning because they have not seen one and they didn't think that it's possible. Some elderly lady, when they make offering to me, they would reach out to touch my robe and ask if they can touch the robe because the robe has always been on male body and not on female body. So it was something very special.
And previous to that, if women were in the monasteries, they were wearing white as mechi, as
Yes.
virtually as workers in the monastery. But you came along in orange, just like the monks.
Yes. Yeah, the white robe now, they are not ordained, to be technical about
Because
it.
until you came, they couldn't ordain.
Yes, and they cannot think. They have been molded into thinking that ordination is not possible for women. And I cracked that mold, So literally, I kind of had to crack the mold for them to open their heart, open their mind to see that, yes, the Buddha allowed women to be ordained. Underline this, I did not start on fine day, I would like to be ordained. It did not happen that way. Simply because I have faith in the Buddha, that the Buddha allowed us to walk this path, and we do have all the right to walk this path.
Yeah. And so looking at that, there was just so many factors that led you, that makes you such a great supporter of bhikkhunis and the bhikkhuni path. So many things, so many aspects to your life made you a supporter, made you become a bhikkhuni and such a supporter of bhikkhunis.
I didn't get the question, sorry, Helen.
I said there were so many, just summing up, there were so many factors in your life that made you such a supporter of bhikkhunis.
Oh, I have to add, Helen, I have to add my father. My father, he was a politician and he was in the parliament, He was the very first one to bow to my mother when my mother was ordained. He gave full bow 3 times, and he said that now the fourfold Buddhist communities have been completed. That's what he said, and I thought it was beautiful.
Yeah. And just explain to the people who are with us the fourfold community and why that's important.
Because, the Buddha intended to establish the fourfold Buddhist communities, the bhikkhus, bhikkhunis, monks, and fully ordained nuns, and the laymen and lay women. These would be the 4 legs of your chair, so to say. A very important fourfold Buddhist communities. This was the Buddha's intention, even before the women asked for ordination. So if we read the text very carefully, you have to respect the Buddha, and this is his intention. And we are now only making his intention a reality in our time.
Indeed. Cindy, if I can bring you in now as the author of the book, tell us how you met Venerable Dhammananda, and were you looking for a spiritual teacher at the time? Cindy?
That's a great question. I always like to say I was not looking for a spiritual teacher at the time because I didn't know. And then when I met Venerable Dhammananda in 2005, my former husband and my son, who was 13 at the time, we were moving to Bangkok from Northern California for 3 years. And as an expat wife, I couldn't work. I don't think you can have 2 visas in one family. So I was looking for something to do. And I've always been interested in women's issues. And lo and behold, there was a San Francisco foundation in the city in San Francisco where I come from. And they had advertised a conference in Bangkok. And it was on women's aid to women in developing countries. So anyway, to sum up, Venerable Dhammananda was speaking in a panel called Faith, Feminism, and the Power of Love. And the first thing that hit me was, I'd never heard faith, feminism, and love in the same sentence, because in a Western context anyway, feminism was more of a political ideology, not the question of religion and faith didn't enter into it. Anyway, she made some very profound statements that really moved me, having to do with helping me understand the futility of anger. And when she said that, it was, for me personally, it was kind of like a light bulb went off. It was like, well, I didn't know I was here to meet my teacher, but I think when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Paradoxically, when I've been writing recently, I was reading the newsletter that Venerable Dhammananda wrote. In some of her articles, she said, when the teacher is ready, the student appears. I had never heard that. And I thought that was so interesting because that's what I'm so impressed with Venerable Dhammananda, because it's a language of reciprocity. I don't want to simplify it too much, but her compassion and her willingness to engage on a very human level was very moving to me and helped me personally over the years, etc. But
So,
then I
Cindy,
thought,
how did that relationship develop, the student-teacher relationship?
well, maybe Venerable Dhammananda might like to comment too. Sometimes, you know,
I'll ask her.
yeah, sometimes I had a problem with putting her on a pedestal and also clinging, wanting her attention, wanting maybe getting jealous when she's maybe complimented someone else. Just human qualities, you know, wanting so much her love and attention. And at one point, you know, thanks to her frankness, honesty, she explained to me that it was too much. And that was such a beautiful moment of transition for us in our relationship, because and I think, you know, I've heard Venerable Dhammananda say if a teacher does something that's not quite right or in keeping with the text or what have you, the student has a responsibility to speak up.
Yeah.
And go ahead, Helen. Did you have a
I was just
question?
going to ask Venerable Dhammananda for her thoughts on the student-teacher relationship and how it works best.
Cindy was very committed, and she had great faith. She was ordained twice. That was when
Yes.
she really become my student. Once when you're ordained from someone, the relationship as a teacher and disciple becomes strengthened.
And in Thailand, you can ordain for a brief period of time. Is that
Yes,
how it works in?
this is only at novice level, not fully
Yeah,
ordained. Not fully
yeah,
ordained as Bhikkhuni. We still have to go to Sri Lanka.
yeah. And Cindy, what was that experience like being ordained for a short period of time?
Oh, it's amazing. It's transformative. I call it like an initiation into a new way of life. And it has been for me both times. Both experiences were quite different, but both times were equally moving, powerful, and life-changing.
And which of, apart from the feminism and faith, what were the other teachings that of Venerable Dhammananda that really resonated with you?
Well, actually, Manuel also is on the call. He's a Venerable Dhammananda student as well. And one time, I think he asked her to describe Buddhism in one word, and she said heart. And that was so powerful for me because I felt like it's kind of simple, but in a nutshell. And I think when I first met her, she had a saying too: everything begins in the heart. That transformation, change begins with the individual. I think she would say begins with the heart, not just the head. And these were very powerful concepts for me and very important teachings because I can't tell you why. It just was. It
Mm,
meant
yeah,
it touched me personally to know
yeah,
that I can't always find the answers logically, that through experiencing her compassion, her wisdom, her equanimity, she's like a role model for me too, I guess you could say. And I don't know.
Yeah,
Here. Yeah, go ahead.
Venerable Dhammananda, taking up that point about the teachings being about the heart, does that mean your main teachings are on compassion?
When we meditate, we get caught in thinking process so much up in the head. So I would like to move them, come back to the heart. So come back to this feeling. When you get in touch with your feeling, it's more real. It's more real. It's not makeup. It's not cooked. It's not being cooked up somehow, So I always try to bring them back to the feeling.
And I understand when you're teaching meditation, you do focus on the mind and the role of the mind. Can you tell us a bit about that? How the mind works in meditation?
I just came from my class. Come back to your breathing. That is fresh experience. So that's a step number one. Step number one, to get in touch with your heart.
Yeah. So how do you do that in meditation? Is it actually concentrating on the heart, or how does that work?
Concentration is an obstacle. When you concentrate too hard, then it becomes obstacle. It becomes obstacle. Just simply note things as they are.
Yeah. And Cindy, how did that work for you? How did you develop with your meditation practice?
Over time, I developed. It took me quite a while actually to be able to get to the samadhi state, concentration, samatha. I'm sorry, the concentration. But one thing I think we haven't talked about is that in the back garden is a medicine Buddha. And that particular Buddha has always been very powerful for me, no matter where I am. When I come back to the temple, which is like home to me, it's my sanctuary. If I sit in the presence of the medicine Buddha, my meditations are deeper and they're more profound. That's not really quite answering your questions. It takes practice. You have to be able to, as Venerable will talk about the monkey mind, the chatter that goes on in your head. But, coming back to your breath is just the basic foundation for practice. Because when we are one with our breath, if I am one with my breath, I'm not thinking about it. I'm with it. That's a little bit hard to describe, but that's what it feels like.
So concentrating on the breath without too strong a concentration.
Yeah, it's like a clearing for me when I get really in a pure space. It's like it's quiet. It's very quiet. And that's very peaceful. That's very satisfying.
Just to let everyone know that Venerable Dhammananda can only be with us for another 10, 15 minutes or so. So if you would like to ask her a question, please put something in the chat room or ask us, put your hand up. Very simple. Before that, Cindy, what are the qualities that you see in Venerable Dhammananda that's made her such a fantastic leader in the world of bikinis?
Tremendous courage, faith, complete commitment to the Buddha and his teachings and the path. And the other thing I see that has really impressed me about Venerable is that she also, before she was ordained, took something called the Bodhisattva vows. So she became very clear before she took ordination, she received ordination, that her life was going to take on a new meaning, that is a wider purpose for serving others. And I think she can probably express that better than I, but that was so impressive to me that to make that commitment and to show, because the world is such a, especially where I am in the United States, such a mess. And to understand that the possibility for us to be help and of service and to be compassionate towards one another. What a lesson. I mean, what a lesson. And a lot of her ideology comes from the feminine. And the feminine, I've heard Venerable Dhammananda say, you know, in some ways the world is kind of a mess because the men have been at it for so long. And the women have a different way of seeing. I like that smiley face.
And that's the one man on this call.
Oh,
is giving us a thumbs up.
yeah, that's great.
Thank you, Roy.
Maybe we should hear from him. It's such a joyous sense of the feminine, because you know I was a feminist in the 60s and 70s when I first started out. But her feminism is so imbued with compassion and loving kindness. Those are the things I admire about her.
So there's just a couple of points there. Venerable Dhammananda, why the decision to take the Bodhisattva vows before you became ordained?
Yes, that happened in the year 2000. I just wanted to check myself whether I'm serious with this ordination. So I went to commit myself to bodhisattvas. And, you know, at the time when you receive the vows, they actually burn your arms, you know, with coin, with how to say, the incense. And people said, no, you don't have to do that. You know, you don't have to go through this. But I wanted to be committed to the whole thing, the whole process of doing it. And I also took burn, just simply to see that this little burn, if you cannot stand this little burn, how can you stand the commitment to take care of others? But why do we have to take care of others? Because the Buddha gave advice to the very first 60 enlightened monks as he sent them out to propagate the teaching of the Buddha. Be beneficial to yourself and be beneficial to others. So I think it's very important that we understand this message, that we live in this world, we are in the world. So you cannot simply try to be enlightened yourself and not in the process of helping others to come along.
And the Bodhisattva vows are normally seen as something in the Mahayana tradition. So you have a very wide view. You encompass both Mahayana and Theravada, although you're ordained in the Theravada tradition. But you have that understanding of the Mahayana and the Bodhisattva.
Yes. My mother also did the same thing. My mother also took the vows. And but actually Cindy also took the vows, but at the level of lay people. People, this is very recent development. And when we came together, Cindy, at the time of ordination, you know, the procession of ordination, we have these, but those who have taken the Bodhisattvas lay vows, you know, they walked in the outfit, you know, it's very, very, how to say, very striking for Thai society.
Yeah. The other thing Cindy mentioned was your experience at Harvard and meeting the feminists there. What was your first impression of feminism when you came across it in Harvard, and how has that influenced, you know, that balance of feminism and Buddhism?
Actually, my first reaction, I was scared of them, because each of them, you know, was so outstanding, so.
This is the American feminists.
Yes, they speak very openly, you know, and I came from Asian background, and women don't speak up like that, you know. This one particular feminist, you know, she introduced her husband. This is my third husband. I was shocked. I came from the background that you don't say things like that. I mean, politely, you could say that this is my husband, enough. But this is my third husband. I was really shocked. So, but then they slowly opened me up in that conference, to understand about the great commitment behind all these activities that they were out there. They really transformed me in a way, transformed me. And when I came back, that's why I start thinking about helping others. But this helping others is very much the Bodhisattva's path.
Yeah. But you did see a lot of the American feminists as being quite angry. So you tried to have the feminism without the anger.
Yes, very important, very important. That really took me. I had to leave the conference for half a day to kind of settle that the fact that I agree with them, yet I don't want to be like them.
Yeah.
And then I bring out the Buddhist part to balance myself.
You took the inspiration from them, but you changed it. Yeah. Look, we'll go to questions in a moment, but I just wanted to ask, what is the state of bhikkhunis in Thailand now? How many are there? How is the bhikkhuni tradition growing? What's happening there?
Yes, right now we have 285 bhikkhunis in Thailand, spread out in all the regions in Thailand. And we just had a conference in this past September, and 92 of them came to attend the conference, and that was the largest gathering of bhikkhunis in Thailand ever. So that was quite impressive. And we talk about intergeneration, handing down now from my generation to the next generation. Yes, we learn to be supportive of each other. We learn to extend our hands to reach out to others.
And you must feel very proud that the bhikkhuni tradition is growing in Thailand.
I really hope that they will be strengthened by the knowledge of the Buddha, and also by they need to have general education also to be able to reach the larger public.
Yeah. I think there's time. Sandra has a question. Sandra, I'll let you ask it if you could just unmute.
There's also a question from Manuel to Helen.
Oh, okay. Sandra first.
Sandra, you're on mute. Still on mute. Are you able to unmute, Sandra?
Can we unmute her?
I can give it a go. Oh, she's trying to unmute. She said, let Manuel go first.
Manuel, can you unmute and ask your question?
Okay.
Oh, there she is. Sandra, hello.
Hello, I'm sorry. I'll try and keep it very brief. And maybe, Venerable Dhammananda, I need to come to Thailand and ask you this question, because it's a meditation question.
It's a good idea. It's a
Yeah,
good
it's
idea.
a great idea. Best idea of the day, I think. So last week I was sitting down in Sutta classes with Ajahn Brahmali over here in Perth and Ajahn Manisara. And we're talking about the Eightfold Path and the gradual training. And it was really curious, and because, as everyone knows, towards the end of the Eightfold Path, that's where we, start to really talk about mindfulness. And they described mindfulness as a combination of not just awareness, pointed awareness, but also a remembering. And I thought that is so interesting. How important is it to remember in meditation? The reason I thought it was interesting was because of the nature of thoughts. And I just really wanted to hear your perspective. And a teeny
Dhammananda?
I doubt if I can handle that in this short period.
Sorry.
And particularly when I have not been with her in her class.
Yeah.
So it will be not a reality for me to to respond to her question.
Okay.
Oh no, it wasn't it was more just discussion, not was that the right or wrong view?
No, it's not
Yeah.
about the right or wrong view. I did not have the same experience with you in class. So it is,
Okay.
I think it is pretentious for me to respond to the question properly.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. We'll go into Manuel. If you could ask your question now.
สวัสดีครับหลวงแม่ I'm so happy to be in your presence. My quick question, because I know we have limited time, it's what would you tell your younger self if you were to meet her now at 81 years old? What would be the advice on the path?
Come back to your breathing. Come back to your breathing. Because I was flying all over, in my head. If I get a chance to tell my younger self, I would tell her to come back to your breathing and be realistic with your true self, not so much with success, not so much with colorful life, not so much about traveling, not so much about attending conferences. Come back to your breathing.
Anything else, Manuel?
Thank you. No, even when you first ordained, you would comment and suggest to her, please come back to your breathing.
When I was first ordained, I was so concerned about keeping my precepts. I was so concerned about the social criticism that was against me, so different stage. That was a different stage, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Manuel. Venerable Dhammanda, I know you have to go, but just as a final question, how do you think you've changed? How have you developed since you took the ordination? What have been the key changes there?
I become more realistic to take note of my body, the need of my body, and to accept aging as reality. People who live up to the age that I am now, 82 years old, you have ache and pain here and there, and that part needs fixing, this part needs fixing, and often doctors visit. The only chance for me to go out of the temple is to visit the doctors. So yes, we have to be much more mindful of this change that is happening at this time of life.
In fact, Cindy has written a chapter on aging and saying, and perhaps you can take it further, saying how the Buddha Dharma helps you understand and come to grips with the aging process.
True. And this aging process, the people around me, they would be much more concerned than myself. So I think it's a Buddha Dharma that allows you to be much more realistic, and to accept things as they are, and let go, not to worry about it so much. Like last night I couldn't sleep because I have gastric problem. So everyone around me, they were so concerned, but I think it's a bit overly concerned. Then I just have to tell them that I'm okay, I'm doing fine.
I know, just quickly, I know you lead a very busy life in the monastery. Can you give us a picture, what's happening today in your monastery? I know there's chanting and the summoners. So tell us,
Yes.
what a day is like in your monastery.
Yes, at 10 o'clock we have offering, and we have offering of food, preparation to the Buddhas. Of course, the Buddhas are not coming down to eat your food, but it's a sign of gratitude, that you arrange that. And we have kind of Sunday service, chanting together, and I give Dharma talk. And now we have 30 samaneris, just newly ordained yesterday. They will be with us 9 days. So it's a busy schedule. busy schedule for me, which keep me happy. Keep me happy
Yeah.
because at this hour I need to be there. At this hour I need to be there. Otherwise, I would just sit back and too much relaxation to myself.
Yeah. Well, we know you have to go. So I pass on some thanks from Sharon, who said, thank you very much, Venerable Dhammananda, for the wonderful talk and inspiration to keep our life as simple as possible. So
Yes.
that's from Sharon. And I'd like to pass on my thanks from Sakyadhita, Australia. I mean, we'll continue with Cindy we won't finish just yet, but I know you have to go. So thank you so much for your time. And I think we've only just touched on your wisdom. So perhaps another time it would be good. We've heard about your life today, perhaps another time to hear about your teachings. So thank you very much.
Providing I'm still alive.
I'm sure you will be with that attitude.
Okay.
Thank you, Venerable Dhammananda. And we'll continue with Cindy. Cindy, one of the things you did during COVID was you made a series of YouTube recordings with Venerable Dhammananda. I think they're still up on YouTube. Casual Buddhism. Can you tell us about those and what you gained from those?
I mean, they're kind of, I haven't been, it really had a life and a purpose at that time. And I've thought about reviving it. I'm going to do a few interviews coming up. But the themes that we covered were very universal, like loneliness, dealing with forgiveness. It just seemed like a real great way to hear. Well, I think part of it at that time too, I was trying to make her teachings a little bit more well known in the Western world, in the Western audience.
Yeah.
And I think it helped, although I'm no master of social media, so it doesn't have thousands of followers or anything like that. But really the teachings were so simple and so straightforward. And that's the thing about what she spoke about it tonight, about talking from the heart, not the head, is she draws her wisdom from practical experience. And I don't know if that's unusual among teachers, but you really get the sense that if she talks about it, she's kind of worked it through within her own experience, which is kind of interesting.
I might be putting you on the spot, but you have written about some of her teachings, and so it'd be interesting to hear from your point of view, your understanding. Is it okay if we go through some of them? Meditation, compassion, forgiveness.
Sure,
Would that
sure,
be? Yeah. Okay.
sure.
So your understanding of her approach to meditation.
Well, I think she talked about it tonight.
She did, but from your point of view.
Really staying with your breath, staying with, this is a little tangential, but I'm going to bring it in. There was a Italian film crew came when I was at the temple this last time, and they asked Venerable Dhammananda, what is courage? And what she said in that moment was the ability to stay in present time. And I had never quite heard anything like that. And so I'm bringing that in. I think it takes courage to sit, and patience, certainly too, to be willing to sit with yourself and go through the frustrations, if you will, because sometimes my head is talking a mile a minute, to really come back into one's own breath and being. And that's what she teaches. And I, when I've meditated with her, it's fairly simple. It's pay attention to your breath. Sometimes there's an emphasis on with my incoming breath, I heal myself, which she alluded to earlier. And with my outgoing breath, I heal others. That's the Buddhist statement, be beneficial to yourself and be beneficial to others.
Yeah, it sounds so simple, but it's so difficult just to see it. Her teaching on forgiveness, what can you tell us?
That was the most powerful. People say they go back to that chapter in the book. No, I
Yeah.
had some childhood trauma early childhood trauma. So I had a problem with rage and anger, and it would come up at the most surprising times. Sometimes when you have an early hurt, the frustration and the rage can come out kind of, for me, it came out kind of bottled up and sort of exploded. So I learned a lot about tolerance and forgiveness. And one of the things that really moved me was I think that forgiveness really starts with ourselves because I'm flawed. I'm human. And I don't have quite such problems with my anger now. But for a long time, it really plagued me. And even at that, one has to say, take a look, take a responsible, real look at who I am, the way I've behaved. And acceptance is a very important word there. Once, I think, once we can accept ourselves, I think it becomes easier to accept others. It's like a key that opens the door to forgiveness. And
And
there have been some people in my life that I haven't fully forgiven. I think that's okay too. I mean, I don't think, maybe this is not Venerable Dhammananda's teaching, but it's my belief that we uh, deal with our own hurts and our own issues in our way. I think, first of all, I think psychology, therapy is important, but I also think the spiritual component is one that added so much more grace and depth to bye Ranjani. Um, to
yes, bye, Ranjani. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming. The spiritual component of forgiveness. I've never thought about that. I think it's a willingness to allow the wholeness of ourselves and others to be who we are.
We'll go on in a second, but Lyndall's asking where this is the book we've been talking about, and the teachings are in this.
Yeah,
It's showing them.
This fresh is this. It looked a
So
little blurry.
Lyndall's asking where can she buy it, or where can we all buy it?
One would hope we can support our independent bookstores as much as possible. It's also available on Amazon. That's an interesting question because Australia. My Amazon is linked to the United States, so we'd have to go on and see if it's available in Australia, Amazon. I would think that it is because the publisher Windhorse is available in those countries, but that would be the only. I mean, you can always order it. Ask for it to be ordered.
And on your website, is it possible to?
No, my website refers back to what we have here, which is indie books.
Okay. Okay.
But Amazon, I'm pretty sure Amazon Australia would cover it.
Okay. Well,
It's available
I
in
don't know,
Canada.
Meg, if you can have a quick look if it's on Amazon here. I will try to find out. Look, we're on the just on the hour. I will wrap
Yes.
up very soon, but I just wanted to ask you about one more of Venerable Dhammananda's teachings, which is on loneliness.
Yes, I think she said loneliness is like walking without your spirit. Um,
And I'm just interrupting there. I found it, reading your book, very interesting that although she was a woman of such achievement, academically in the media, she said she felt lonely, that she felt um, not fulfilled.
right, right. This goes back more into the memoir that we're working on now, but just so people will know, at three and a half, she was separated from her family. Her mother sent her to they were living in the southern Thailand. She sent her to live in Bangkok, and that was pretty traumatic for her because that's a very young age to be separated from your mother and your father and your
Yeah,
siblings.
yeah, yeah.
I think that just marked her. She said that was my first experience of dukkha, of suffering. And she described her mom a little bit. It was no cakewalk, basically. If you get my drift, she was
It was a
very
what? It was a what?
I was kidding. I said it was no cakewalk. She had high expectations. She was a bit of a perfectionist, very probably high demands on Venerable Dhammananda, and that's a lot of pressure, for a child to contend with. So
Yeah.
I'm sorry, could you bring me back to your question? What was it?
Um, her teachings on loneliness, which
Yeah,
you've written
so
about.
basically,
Yeah,
I think what I myself have dealt a lot with depression, and she's helped me a lot deal with that. And I think her advice usually is become active, do something, get involved. I mean, I don't know, write a book. That's what she had me do. That was the first thing she told me to do, was write my story. And it wasn't necessarily out of I mean, I think she probably wanted the book written, but honestly, it was more the bodhisattva path of, you're depressed, go do something. And this is the
yeah,
task I'm giving you. So become active, become involved in anything. Walk, movement is very helpful with loneliness. Being in nature. I have a
yeah,
lot of experience with that. And so did she. I think she did too. But I do want to say that when she became ordained, she said that deep sense of loneliness was gone.
yeah, yeah. And just as a final question, Cindy, I don't know if you can sum up how meeting Venerable Dhammananda changed your life.
Yes,
Being
meeting
her
Dom,
student.
yeah, she helped me become the whole person that I am today. I have tremendous gratitude for her. On a personal level, I was in a marriage that probably wasn't allowing me to be the whole person I needed to be. So I was married for 30 years. I don't think I did divorce 5 years, seven, I don't remember, 5 or 7 years ago. I don't think I would have had the inner strength and confidence and I don't know what else the word is, to do that without her support and her guidance. Very important to me.
Hmm. Anything else you'd like to say before we wrap
Well,
up?
I think that you are a great interviewer. Thank you so
Oh,
much. I thought your
thank you.
questions were really great. And thank you
Thank
so
you.
much to everyone who came. I'm so grateful to Venerable Dhammananda, and the more people can understand and experience her, I think is just a good thing.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Cindy. And we really appreciate your time today. And it's been so interesting getting the story from both sides. So it's
That's
been,
what I wanted to comment. I think you've done that more effectively than anyone I've seen. And
oh,
I think this is a very valuable recording. So thank you very much.
my pleasure. Um, and so, yes, thank you. Just moving on. Thanks also to Meg, who's been recording today and assisting. It's very valuable, Meg. So thank you. And a reminder to everyone that this webinar will be available on the Sakyadhita Australia YouTube channel in a few days. And we've just got a few notices, Sakyadhita Australia notices. So obviously we hope to bring you more webinars next year. And next year will be an important year as we're celebrating 10 years of Sakyadhita Australia. And one of our main events will be a pilgrimage in Victoria celebrating those 10 years. And we'll be visiting the Great Stupa and doing a retreat at Newbury. So we very much hope you can join us. Sharon, is there any update? Would you like to say anything about it? Is she there?
Uh, yes, I am. I'm just okay. Yes. Well, there's some. We've got about 3 or 4 places left. So if you want to join us, don't delay. So yeah. And Venerable Choki, our esteemed Vice President, will be leading a retreat at Newbury. So please come along. It will be wonderful.
And we'll visit a number of temples in Victoria, as well as the Great Stupa in Newbury, and we'll go up to see Venerable Chikwan Sunim up at King Lake. So it should be very good. As you know, throughout the years, we've been holding many fundraisers, again, thanks to Sharon. And tentatively, we're hoping next year to, on the request of Anthony, actually, to raise funds for the nuns affected by the floods in Sri Lanka. So next year, we'll let you know more about that. And it's also the time of year when we ask you all to renew your membership. Being a member means so much to us. It's the only way we can keep going. So a very big thank you to all of you who are members. And we urge you to, we'll send out the notices soon, but we urge you to continue your membership. And if you're not a member, think about joining us. You can do that on our website. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and wherever you are. And just finally, I'd ask Venerable Choki, as you know, our esteemed Vice President, to give us a blessing to finish the day. Thank you.
I don't know about esteemed, but anyway, I'm happy to. Thank you all very much. It has been very rich. Thank you, Cindy. I think your words about also Helen as an interviewer are very pertinent. I mean, she does have a bit of experience with the ABC background, but just saying. But she holds the space so well, and this has been a very wonderful participatory webinar, and I have learnt so much. Gewadihi nuhududa lama sange nubyune roho wahachikyang mahalupam dehi sahala Gopa shojanchu sencho grimposhe ma ke panam ge kuchi ke panyam pa me payang gong gong du pelwasho. Sadhu, 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 and in Tibetan, lexo, lexo, lexo.
Thank you. Thank you, Choki. Thank you, everyone. Enjoy your day or enjoy your evening in California. Enjoy your afternoon in Australia. And we'll see you next time. See you in the new year. Thank you.
Thank you.